What's the best top coat for your custom leather shoes? We'll find out today. Welcome guys, if you're new here, I'm HJ and we'll be doing a top coat durability test. If this video is helpful, please like and subscribe. I'll be comparing 3 different top coats. So Angelus matte 4-coat, they just came out with this 4-coat, I want to say within the last year. Alphaflex has a top coat also. They're new in the customizing world. And then Liquid Kicks, they're around 3 or 4 years old, I believe. I'll be testing out the top coats on this pair of shoes, and then I actually do another pair of shoes later on just to see the difference. But please make sure to prep your shoes properly, so you need to remove that factory finish. Using acetone or a leather deglazer and preparer will help remove the factory finish, so then your paints can absorb properly into the material. I'm specifically using white paint, so then you'll be able to see any scratches a lot easier. Again, make sure to prep properly so then you have a good foundation for the paint and the top coats to apply. So we'll have the Liquid Kicks in the center, and then near the back, it'll be the Angelus 4-coat, and near the front, it will be the Alphaflex. I feel like to have an accurate test, you want it to be the same material. So the tumbled leather on Jordan 1s are trash. I'm just gonna say it. It doesn't feel genuine. There's something wonky with it. So keep that in mind. If you do purchase Jordan 1s, make sure you don't get the tumbled leather. This test was good, but I'm pretty much scratching with no real method. You can see it does hold up decently, even with scratches, but it wasn't as methodical as my next test will be. Long story short, I'm throwing away this test here. There's too many different types of leather on it, and I will do another test where I only use one specific type of leather, but for right now, I am going to test 2 different types of just regular leather not on the shoes. So leather number 1, and then leather number 2, which is more of a raw leather. I'm gonna go ahead and prep both leathers, and then I'm going to paint both of them with a few coats of white paint so you'll be able to see the scratches. So I'm prepping with 91% rubbing alcohol, but you can also prep with acetone. And then now that they are ready to go, I'm gonna go ahead and paint them with white first. I did a test before comparing the paints, but I decided for this one, it's just going to be the same exact paint, so then I can accurately measure the different types of top coat. And I did about 3 to 4 different layers of paint on this for the test. And so I can't get confused, I'm gonna go ahead and label the different areas of the leather with which brand I'm using. I'm taping off the areas, and then I'll go ahead and I'll put the top coats on, and I do about 3 to 4 layers of the top coat, and I make sure that it dries in between. So I am going to speed up the process by using a embosser, which is like a heat gun. So as I put the top coat on the pieces of leather, I'm also going to test how the top coat does on its own by placing it in a nice little container like this, and I'm going to let it dry overnight, and then I'm going to do a stretch test. So I believe that if it's stretchier, it should do better. If it breaks, if it's brittle, anything like that, I believe it's not as good. So we'll do a stretch test. Don't know how this is going to work out, but we'll find out. So again, on the pieces of leather, I did do about 3 to 4 coats. And then for this test here, I'm trying to make it be as even as possible because I don't want to have too much of the top coat in one and not enough in the other. Now, I did notice that both Angelus and LK are a little bit thinner. I would say Liquid Kicks, LK, is the thinnest of them all, with Alphaflex being a thicker consistency for that top coat. Now, obviously, when you put it on, it's not super thick or anything like that, but I don't know if that has anything to do with how good or how bad a top coat can be. And then you can just see how liquid the Liquid Kicks is. So the LK is a very liquid, 4-coat, pretty liquid, and then the Alpha is the thickest one. This was done almost immediately after putting the first top coat on. And this was done first. So 4-coat, Alphaflex, and then LK was done last. And then the way I scratched it, so these two actually had more time to cure. Overall, they've only had like maybe 10 10, 20 minutes to cure. So I'm gonna save this one for tomorrow because it'll have more time to cure.
24 hours later.
Okay, just feeling between these two. This one does feel a little bit more papery. It's a little bit more rubbery. So Alpha feels a little bit more rubbery than the 4-coat. It could also be the fact that the Alpha might have been slightly thicker. So you can kind of just see the difference. So this one's the 4-coat, this one's Alpha. I'm gonna put them back in so I can't get confused. And then this one's still, I don't know, I feel like it almost feels a little wet still. But this kind of feels more rubbery, if that makes sense. So between the two, I don't know, these both kind of feel similar, the Alpha and the LK. So we'll see how scientific this is. My thought is, if I pull it, we can see how rubbery it is. I would think that a more rubbery finisher would be better. And we'll just see how pulling it goes. This isn't super scientific, but I kind of want to see if I can try to get it to see how much it'll stretch before breaking. So right now that's at like 12. And I guess this could also depend on how much I put in it. So again, I'm not too sure how scientific, but it seems to make sense in my mind. So right now, that's at okay. I want to say it was like around 18. It feels pretty decent, and you can see how it pulls apart. Kind of like bubblegum. Okay, so that was LK. Seems pretty rubbery, and that was the factory finish kind. Also, I will point out that this one is kind of old. I got this when they first came out. So this is over a year old for sure. I want to say it's probably even older than that. I want to say it's probably closer to 2 years. I'm gonna go with the 4-coat from Angelus. So right now, already it's not, it's a little bit rubbery, but we'll just see. Okay, I'm actually pulling pretty hard right now, and it's not really pulling at all. So maybe that's a good thing, maybe not. I feel like it's just gonna snap. It pulls to like maybe 8. So again, I don't really know how scientific, and it's actually, oh, there it broke. I was seriously pulling really hard. So, oh, here, watch. Now it's just ripping, but. So, the 4-coat did not pull as nicely. I would assume that means it's not as flexible. And then this is Alpha. So this seems to have more pull than Angelus, the 4-coat by Angelus, but not nearly as much stretch. See, just kind of breaking. I feel like the stretchier something is, you would think that it's better, but I am not positive. So this was my attempt at seeing how flexible they are. I mean, flexibility wise, just with that, I'll say LK is definitely the most flexible, and then it seems Alphaflex is most flexible, and then the 4-coat. So, but again, I don't really know how scientific this is. It seems to make sense to me, but we'll see how more scratch tests go. I'm just going to do a straight line across these about 10 times, so it will be a good comparison. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've been trying to push pretty hard into each one, and 10 times. Just gonna keep on going, so I'll speed up the video probably. So after 40 or 50 scratches, you can see how, it's either 40 or 50, I'm just trying to do it even. So you can see 4-coat has already started to scratch. Alphaflex, I think there's, might be a slight one, but not really. And then nothing on LK for scratches. Actually, you can see a little bit here. Right now, Alphaflex is actually winning. Okay, you actually do see little teeny stretches here. Alphaflex is winning right now, and Topcoat is not winning at all. My fingers are starting to hurt, actually. I'm pressing really hard. Take a look. You can see how much I'm pressing my finger. Okay, just so you know, I'm actually trying to push hard. I know I need to lotion on my hands. Anyways. So you can see there are little teeny cracks right here. Alphaflex is doing well. Topcoat not so much. I'm gonna get a different one just because my fingers are starting to hurt. You can hear how much the Alphaflex like scratches though. Oh look, it has started to scratch. So, let me even it up. So you can actually see these look like little teeny micro tears. This and this, both the Alphaflex and the Topcoat, is like completely coming off, where LK just looks like little teeny bits. My hand is starting to hurt from doing this, so I need to figure out something else so I don't hurt myself. And the time has come for the Topcoat. Obviously, this is going to scratch it, but I just kind of want to see where it will be. Okay, that's pretty bad. That's bad. Okay, with the fourth, they all fail. But it kind of looks like Alphaflex is honestly doing well for that, which is very fascinating because yesterday they failed with flying colors, but it seems like now it's holding up okay. So I'm going to use the knife or the fork again and do another test. I want to do 3 different tests total. So they both go there. Wait, also, using. I don't even remember using these in it. Right, so there you can see Alphaflex just started to scratch, about even with the Topcoat. So this is what's weird. This one did a lot better compared to Liquid Kicks a little bit before. So before, Alphaflex was kicking Liquid Kicks' butt, but now Alphaflex started to scratch, so I have no idea what's up with that. Looks like Liquid Kicks just started to get a little bit of scratches right here. Alphaflex is failing, and Topcoat by Angelus isn't doing that great either. Once it starts to scratch, it looks like it's just doomed for. So, in this little test, Topcoat by Angelus started to scratch. Not a ton though. It's kind of weird because it's up higher, not necessarily down here. Alphaflex did not win. And LK, you can kind of see a little bit of scratches there. But like if we would compare all of these, I mean, there's no definite winner here with this type of material. I mean, it looks to me like there's more scratches on the Alphaflex. And then, honestly, it kind of looks like the Topcoat might win this one, but I don't know. They're kind of close. I wish it was more obvious of who the winner is. Long story short, they all kind of fail, but if I had to pick which one does look best, I would say Topcoat looks slightly better than the other two. So I would not recommend ever buying shoes that have this raw leather type material because I don't think that it's appropriate for the paint or the Topcoat. But in this circumstance, I'll give the win to Topcoat slightly. If we just get rid of that bottom row that we did the scratch test on, it does look like Topcoat or maybe LK. Honestly, it's really tough. Let me know what you guys think. Which one wins this raw leather test? The Topcoats have had time to cure now. So yesterday's results, LK, I would say, is the winner, and over here, and then Alphaflex, I would say, is the loser. But maybe giving it more time to cure will have an impact. Let's get ready for the scratch test. So I'm just gonna start over here, and it's actually I broke off the tip of the toothpick just because otherwise I break it anyways. So we'll just start here. And I'll come down here. 1, 2, 10. Right now, they're all winning. Alphaflex started to scratch right there. Angelus has just a little bit. It's kind of difficult to tell. Let me zoom in so you can see here, Alphaflex. And then right there, kind of tough to see, is the 4-coat from Angelus. But let's keep on scratching. Yikes. So you can see how much I am pressing. And 4-coat isn't doing as hot. It still looks great. Yikes. Yikes. Stopping right now, I think the obvious winner is LK. Like, look at the differences. Zoomed in, like, you can see how hard I am pushing too. This is a huge fail. But again, all of these, I will say, you shouldn't be doing crazy stuff with your shoes, and it does need to be prepped properly. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how great of a top coat you have. I'm gonna just do it one more time, because why not? I kinda just wanna see if LK will eventually crack or not. And now they are. So you can see they did just start to crack. But that's pretty decent. So I'm trying to think of another way to test it. Let's go vertical, just in case. So 4-coat. Well, that just started to scratch. That's terrible. I'm seriously pressing hard, for real. Okay, can see a little bit of a scratch here. And compared to Alphaflex, yikes. And 4-coat, not that great either. So I'm just gonna do one more scratch, it's actually weird why would the way I go affect it. I don't know, that looks equal to this now. That's destroyed, and so it's still not bad. Okay, based on this test, the winner is quite obvious, LK, and I just want to let everybody know that I'm not sponsored by anyone. I think a lot of times when you get sponsored, you have a little bit of a bias, but I will say, based on this, LK seems like the winner. I'm just gonna do one more test because why not? But I want to try to figure out, is there anything else that I should be using? Maybe I can try to use this. I don't know if it's going to stay level though. It might just spin on me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, that's a nice scratch. That was with 10. Yeeks! Well, even with this, it looks like Alphaflex fails. 4-coat obviously fails too, but I like to think it's not quite as bad. And LK, obviously it does still fail, but it looks way better than these two. Last one, because might as well. Let's just eat. Here, use this. And let's go vertical. I really don't want to break this paintbrush though. Okay, but all of them are passing right now. Okay, just because my hands are hurting from doing that. I mean, that one, which is not anything sharp, but that one, all of them do pass. I don't think there's any type of scratches that came up on any of them. So, don't really see anything. I think the obvious winner here is, well, I'll let you just look at this. Like, it's quite obvious. This, however, has mixed reviews, so no idea, honestly. They all kind of were crap. This one did slightly better, but then, like, if you look at it from like all of them, it looks like this one might have done better. I don't know. You guys can let me know who you think the obvious winner is. Also, using the little stretchy method, like I think Liquid Kicks wins with that, followed by Alpha with the stretch test. And 4-coat isn't as good, not as stretchy. So I'm redoing the scratch test on the shoes from the beginning here. I'm just going to be using this smooth leather. I'm going to remove the Nike swoosh. Now, as I remove the Nike swoosh, I realized how garbagey of a material this is. So check this out. It's like fuzzy on the one side. I don't know what it is. Maybe you guys know. Drop a comment with what in the world is this material, because I'd really like to know. Real quick again, I'm going to prep this with a leather deglazer and preparer from Angelus just to remove that factory finish, and then I'm going to paint it with the white Angelus paint. I did about 2 to 3 coats of the white paint, and then I dried in between, and then I will use the Alphaflex and then Liquid Kicks and then Angelus, and I am going to mark it down again so I cannot get confused. And I placed about 3 to 4 coats of each of the top coats, and then I will let them dry in between for the 24 hours just to make sure that they are at their full potential. Also, if we're going to talk packaging, Liquid Kicks I think has the best packaging, but Angelus just got some pop tops, so I'm going to put a pop top on this. It's 100 times easier. I always recommend that you dye your threading. However, with black shoes, you cannot dye the threading. So this is the downside of working on black shoes. It's almost impossible to get the paint to seep into the threading so it doesn't scratch off. Here you can see is an example of me just scratching it off. And even though there is a good top coat on it, which will protect the leather, the paint will still scratch off of the threading most likely. Right now it seems that Alphaflex and Topcoat are about the same. Another thing I want to point out is listen to the sound. Listen to how different it sounds on the different finishers. Listen closer to as each top coat is being scratched. So Topcoat and Alphaflex kind of have a very distinct sound, where Liquid Kicks, you can't really hear the scratches as much. Alphaflex and Topcoat, it kind of sounds like you're taking your nail and scratching up against a wall, where Liquid Kicks is kind of like if you take your nail and scratch the glass. It's just a very different consistency. So Alphaflex, Angelus, Topcoat, and LK. I think, again, the answer is obvious. I went over this like multiple times. Most of these were just 10 to 20 times and it already started to scratch. This I went over about 40 times until you do start to see it mark. Here's the moment you've all been waiting for. Here are the final results. Starting off with cost, if you were to pay for just 4 ounces. Liquid Kicks comes in at most expensive for $20 for a 4-ounce bottle. Angelus is right in the middle at $10.70 for 4 ounces. Alphaflex is the most economical at $6.50 for 4 ounces. I will add that they only sell in 8-ounce bottles, so take that into consideration before you purchase anything. For the stretch and flexibility test, I did do a slow-mo so I could see exactly what it's at, and Liquid Kicks got 18 picas. Why did I use the pica measurement? So then I can do this.
Pica, pica.
Angelus came in last with 8 picas, and Alphaflex came in second to last with a 9 or a 10. It is really close on the Alphaflex and Angelus, so overall, Liquid Kicks won it on this one with a huge number of 18, which is almost double everybody else's. Scratch test on the raw leather. Now I did use a metal fork, which means everything failed. But if I had to give a winner based on that test alone, it seems like Angelus did better. With the soft leather, I did do one test before it had fully cured, and then I did another test later. In both cases, Liquid Kicks won. The last test I did was the scratch test on the Jordan 1 lows. I was really glad that I actually did a lot of different comparisons on different leather just to see which one truly is the most superior. Alphaflex did a lot of scratches, Topcoat did a lot of scratches, but Liquid Kicks really did not scratch much at all, so I will say Liquid Kicks definitely won this one as well. All the brands that I used are linked below, and let me know what type of comparison video you would like to see next. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, happy creating.